Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is April 24th, 2023, and lots of news to share with you. Starting that Barcelona are currently gaining ground in the Enriquez Negreira case as more information has been revealed in regards to Enriquez Negreira's role as the vice president of the committee of referees. Also, it looks like the club are still considering Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as a summer signing. And finally, Real Madrid's coach Carlo Ancelotti has made some very interesting statements where he said that there is no 11-point difference between Barcelona and Real Madrid. We're going to discuss all of that in this video, so let's begin. Again, my name is Mo. Welcome to the live stream, which is scheduled for every Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you know, Barca News are now I'm doing now with Barca News the post-match live stream analysis. So as soon as the match ends, you will find me on the live stream to review the match, the players' ratings, the team's performance, etc. Now, there is a match on Wednesday against Rayo Vallecano that will end around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm only going to do one live stream, which will be the post-match analysis, the live stream. And then the Barcelona news, I'll bring it to you in a regular video because I figure it wouldn't make sense to have a live stream at 6 p.m. and then another live stream an hour later at 7 p.m. So only one live stream on Wednesday, which will be the post-match analysis. Now, as always, we'll do a segment of news. We'll head to the chat. We'll get a discussion going. I see there's 22 of you right now online. Thank you guys for joining. Let's blow up that like button. There's only 9 likes so far with 22 people watching. Let's make it 22 people watching with 22 likes. It goes a long, long way to help this channel. And also, as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, let's start with the news. Let's start with some injury updates. As I mentioned many times before, Ousmane Dembélé is expected to come back next weekend on Sunday against Real Betis. So he's probably going to miss the midweek match against Rayo Vallecano on Wednesday. But what the good news is, it looks like Andreas Christensen could also be back by that weekend match against Real Betis. Both Christensen and Dembélé trained today with the group with no problems. So it looks like both of them are recovering, are very close to finishing their recovery. And we can expect both of those players on Sunday against Real Betis. Great news, of course, for Xavi. Great news for the team. We saw how big of a difference it made to have Pedri and Frankie de Jong back on the squad in the match against Atletico de Madrid. The team's performance was much, much better. So I can't wait for Dembélé and Christensen to come back. It's only going to make the team better, which we need it. We need the team to stay strong. We need them to keep winning, and we need to wrap this La Liga title as soon as possible. Now, we are going to be missing Sergio Busquets on Wednesday against Rayo Vallecano because he did receive a yellow against Atletico de Madrid, a well-deserved yellow for holding. I can't remember who, but he held the player from Atletico Madrid, so he received his 5th yellow card. So as a result, Sergio Busquets will be suspended for the match against Rayo Vallecano, but it's not a big deal because we did get Pedri and Frankie de Jong back. If both of them were injured, I think it'd be a big, big problem to have Busquets also miss out. But since both Pedri and Frankie de Jong are back, I don't think we're going to miss Busquets as much. But he'll definitely be back in the match against Real Betis on the weekend, which that should be a bit more difficult match than Rayo Vallecano because after all, Real Betis are sitting 5th on the table. Now, let's head back to the comment section. And after that, we'll talk about the Enriquez Negreira case because there's some development there. And that development is in favor of Barcelona. Now, let's see who's in the chat. David says, Mo, what do you think about in the City goal celebration against Manchester United? You know what? I haven't seen the review yet. It's on my list of things to do. I know Sevilla won 3-0, and it was a 5-2 aggregate. Very embarrassing for Manchester United. I think I saw the 2 goals, the mistakes by De Gea and Maguire, which... my God, what's going on with those two? But I didn't see the celebration. If you want to elaborate a little bit more in the chat, we'll talk about it. But I'm not sure what celebration you're talking about. Abbas says, hello, Mo. Hello, Abbas. Mustafa also says, good evening, Mo. What's up, Mustafa? And Munib sending the Blaurana colored hearts. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for being in the chat. And then thank you for those who will be watching the stream once it ends. David says he did a Pedri celebration mocking Garnacho. That's funny. I'll have to watch it. But I'm glad because I don't know who Garnacho thinks he is. I mean, this guy hasn't really won anything, hasn't proven himself yet. And then, there was the whole like, oh, well, I'm a Ronaldo fan. No, I'm a Messi fan. Ronaldo's my idol. No, Messi's my idol. Trolling other players. I mean, who are you to begin with? And why do you think you could troll players? Nobody even knows who you are. So I'm glad that City was trolling him. Let's see. Papa says Gabi also booked. Yes, but that doesn't affect anything. Gabi already, if I'm not mistaken, he already served his suspension, so we'll be fine. Paul says, good evening, Mo. And then Leon says, Visca Barça. Visca Barça. Let's head back to the news. We'll do another segment. Then we will go back to the chat, and then we'll keep a discussion going. Okay, the next news segment is about the Enriquez Negreira case. There's more developments about it. I don't think I need to refresh you. We've been talking about this for, I think, the last 2 months. We all know what happened. Barcelona hired Enriquez Negreira, who was a former referee, to be a consultant for the club so he can make reports about referees. And at the time of the hiring, he was the vice president of the committee of referees, which, of course, has unleashed all this criticism, saying Barcelona were trying to bribe referees, that they were trying to buy influence. The prosecutor's office has filed corruption charges against Barcelona and this whole scandal that the club have been dealing with for the past 2 months. Of course, lots of developments ever since then. The prosecutor's office have said there's no evidence that Barcelona tried to bribe any referees. The Spanish Treasury have said there's no evidence that Barcelona were trying to bribe any referees because the investigation started with the Treasury's office. And then UEFA, it looks like they're not going to sanction Barcelona until a court makes a final determination about Barcelona's guilt, which is what John Laporta asked of UEFA and FIFA. And it looks like both governing bodies are standing down, waiting for a court to finally make a decision. And like Javier Tebas in La Liga, who he's been just running his mouth nonstop, even though we don't know all the facts. Now, what the news is that UEFA, they launched an investigation. They sent inspectors to Spain, to the Barcelona offices, where Barcelona provided them with all the documents that they asked for. And it looks like UEFA also sent requests to the Committee of Referees and to the Royal Spanish Football Federation. They asked both bodies about documentation about what exactly Enriquez Negreira did in his role as a vice president of Committee of Referees. And to no surprise, guess what, guys? He really didn't do anything. There's actually 6 total vice presidents that the Committee of Referee has. 2 of them are ceremonial, and one of those ceremonial roles belonged to Enriquez Negreira. So in other words, his title as a vice president of the Committee of Referees was nothing but ceremonial title. It's kind of like when universities give an honorary PhD to somebody, they're like, here's a PhD just to honor you. That person didn't really go to that university or didn't study, didn't take classes, didn't write a thesis, didn't have to defend it. They just get a PhD, an honorary PhD. And that's exactly the Enriquez Negreira role was. It was an honorary role. He had absolutely no power in the Committee of Referees. He didn't assign referees like they were saying in the Madrid-based media. He had no power over assigning referees to matches. There's also some reporters saying, oh, well, Enriquez Negreira was the one who decided which referees would get promoted from second division to first division and which ones would get demoted from the first to second division. And, that was the power that he really had. If referees didn't rule in favor of Barcelona, then Enriquez Negreira would demote them. Total BS. Turns out Enriquez Negreira did not have the power to promote or demote referees either. In fact, the whole Committee of Referees don't have the power to do that. There's a whole separate body that makes the decisions about what referees get promoted and what referees get demoted. So in summary, Enriquez Negreira had 0 power in the Committee of Referees. It was just an honorary title. He didn't hold any powers. He didn't make any decisions. He didn't assign referees. He didn't promote or demote referees. And in fact, he wasn't even receiving a salary because, again, his role was completely ceremonial. It was an honorary role. He had no power. So not only there's no evidence that Barcelona tried to bribe any referees or buy any kind of influence, even if Barcelona were trying to do that, then that was the dumbest thing ever because Enrique Negreira had no power at all in the committee of referees. So even if Barcelona were trying to buy influence, they were definitely paying the wrong guy because this guy had zero power. He didn't make any decisions. There's zero power. So, but of course, you're not going to hear that in the mainstream media. You know, the mainstream media programs like El Chiringuito, which is an absolute circus, all clowns running their mouth nonstop with no facts or basis. They're still selling the story that Enrique Negreira had the power to assign referees or promote or demote. Absolute lie. This was confirmed by the Spanish government, by the Royal Spanish Football Federation, by the Committee of Referees. They've all confirmed this, that Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira had no power as the vice president of the Committee of Referees. He was one of 6 vice presidents. His role was totally honorary. He had no salary. He had no power. I'm not surprised, but of course, Madrid-based media will continue to sell you the story that this is the biggest corruption story in the history. Barcelona bought all the trophies that they had. Absolutely shameful what's going on. But there you go, folks. That's the truth, and that's what's going on. Let's head back to the comment section and see what you guys are saying. Paul says, good evening, Mo. What's up, Paul? What's up, Leon? Robbie says, grilled nachos is irrelevant. Pedri and Gabi will always be better. 100%. Actually, I think grilled nachos are more relevant than garnacho. Reese grilled nachos are delicious. They provide us with nutrition. Garnacho, who the hell is that guy? He's just a bench warmer. Paul says, I really admire your analysis and learn a lot from you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all you guys who always support the channel. Abbas says, can you give us some news on Ilkay? Gundogan, there's still nothing final. There's in advanced talks. He hasn't signed his agreement yet because, again, he's worried that Barcelona are not going to be able to register his contract. I think it's all going to depend on the feasibility plan that Barcelona have turned over to La Liga. You know, if that plan is approved, they'll be able to sign not just Messi, but 4 other players. So probably if that feasibility plan gets approved, I think that's when Ilkay will probably sign his contract. Okay, let's see. Mark says, how long do you think it will take till we are financially stable again? It's going to take, I think, at least 2 to 3 years, maybe. I think as far as being, you know, out of danger, out of that brink of bankruptcy, I think we're out of that. I think what Laporta, his board of directors, did, putting the club back, you know, on financial course, doing all those financial levers. I think that's definitely got us out of the red zone, got us out of danger. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, Barcelona's going to go bankrupt. I think we're far from that. But as far as getting financially stable, it's going to take a few years. I think 3, maybe 4 years. It's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately. But, you know, the Spy Barca is going to help a lot once the stadium is, you know, completely renovated. You know, I know we're going to lose 100 million euros next season because we're moving to the Montjuic Stadium, the Olympic Stadium, which is half the capacity. But once the Spotify Camp Nou is fully remodeled, it's going to increase its capacity to 100,000. I think that's going to help a lot. It's going to increase Barcelona's revenue. If Messi comes, that's going to be a huge boost. Again, more sponsors, more merchandise sales. I think all that's going to help the club. But it's going to take at least, I know, 2, 3, maybe 4 years. But we're definitely out of the red zone. All right, let's see. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll move to the next one, which is about Vitor Roque and Aubameyang. Not a lot of news today because we just came out of the weekend, which was St. Jordi. It's a holiday in Barcelona, so not a lot of news. So I'll definitely do a lot more comments at the end of this video. But for now, I'll do 2 more, and then we'll keep moving with the news. Let's see. Musa said, good evening. What's up, Musa? This is more interesting in Negreira case. Yes, very interesting developments. Paul says information on Abde. There's no information on Abde. All we know is that Barcelona, Xavi wants to give him a chance in the summer so he can try out, see if he can earn his spot in the first team. If he can, he'll keep him. If not, he'll be offloaded. But the club really want to offload him because he has really good market value, so they think they can cash in on him, especially since Barcelona only spent 2 million euros on Abde. So they think, you know, if they can turn around and sell him for 25, 30 million, that's a huge, huge profit. They can go a long way in generating those 100 million euros that Barcelona need to generate as part of the feasibility plan that they have presented to La Liga. Now, that's a good segue because talking about signings, last thing we knew is that Barcelona had decided to travel to Brazil to negotiate with Atlético Paranaense in regards to the signing of Vitor Roque. You know, Vitor Roque's father visited the city of Barcelona. visited the facilities, the offices of the club, spoke to the board of directors and said, hey, my son wants to come to Barcelona. We're willing to, help you out with Atletico Paranaense, put some pressure on them, but you need to come to Brazil. You need to sit down with Atletico Paranaense and negotiate in person. For the longest time, Barcelona had no answer because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to afford the 45 to 50 million euros that Atletico Paranaense want for Vitor Roque. But eventually, Barcelona said, okay, fine, we are going to travel. Let's sit down with the Brazilian club, try to get a deal going. It's reported that Atletico Paranaense are willing to negotiate a payment plan, which would go a long way in helping Barcelona to pay for this guy, and it wouldn't affect the financial fair play rule restrictions as much. Now, after that, nothing has happened. It seems that Barcelona have put this trip on hold for now because they want to evaluate all of their options on the table and see what's going to be the best option. As you might recall, I did a few days ago, I mentioned in a video that Barcelona were also considering two other center forwards who are also very young. There's Hojland, who plays at Atalanta. There's Orban Gift, who plays in Belgium. Those two are serious options that Barcelona are considering. So for now, the trip to Brazil is on hold. Barcelona want to consider all of their options, make sure that Vitor Roque is the correct one before they commit to investing 45 to 50 million euros, which is, of course, a lot of money given the club's financial situation. Now, how is this related to Aubameyang? Well, Barcelona are still considering Aubameyang, but only as a plan B. So if Barcelona can't sign anyone, not Vitor Roque, not Hojland, not Gift Orban, nobody that's young, if they can't sign anybody, then they'll consider signing Aubameyang. But Aubameyang will have to leave Chelsea for free, and he will have to accept a huge salary reduction to come to Barcelona, which, as far as we know, Aubameyang is willing to do that. He's dying to come back. He's willing to take whatever salary Barcelona wants to offer him. He's willing to accept whatever role Barcelona want to give him, and he's willing to play as many minutes as Barcelona want to throw his way. So he's fully committed to coming back, but Barcelona are only going to consider it if they can't sign anyone else, and if he would have to leave Chelsea for free because Barcelona don't want to pay a transfer for Aubameyang. Now, my personal opinion is I love Aubameyang. I think he did amazing here at Barcelona, even though he was only here for half a season. It was thanks to him that Barcelona were able to climb back the table and qualify to the Champions League. But I don't think it'd be the right move to bringing him back. Again, he's 34 years old. He's the same age as Lewandowski. Why would you want to bring an old substitute for an old center forward? Also, given that they're both the same age, they're both going to end up leaving the club around the same time, and then you're stuck with no center forwards. I think that would be the wrong move. And then age apart, even if Aubameyang was much younger, I think we have to consider one thing, and is that he's been at Chelsea for almost a full season, and he hasn't played at all. And there's been a lot of coaches. I mean, Chelsea have gone through so many coaches, and he hasn't played under any of them, which begs the question, is there something we're missing? Because if it was just one coach, you're like, all right, maybe they don't have a right relationship, or maybe he's not the right profile for that coach. But when you see several coaches coming and going, and he's still not playing under any of them, it makes you beg the question, is there something that Chelsea knows that we don't know, that maybe his performance is not there? So that's why, for that reason, and for his age, I think it would be a wrong move to bring Alba back. But again, he's only an option B if Barcelona can't sign anyone. Let's get back to the comment section. The chat. Let's get a discussion going. And then the last news is I want to talk is about Ancelotti and what he said about Barcelona and their 11-point lead over Real Madrid. All right. Where did we leave off? Mustafa says, I want to see a picture of you for this information. My name is Mustafa and the pro that sell fans clubs of Nigeria. I really thank you for the information. I didn't understand what you mean, a picture of me. I'm right here. You can see me. But thank you for your support, Mustafa. A lot of people from Nigeria watch this channel. So I send all my love to Nigeria, to all my Nigerian brothers and sisters. Thank you all, you guys, for your support. Papa says, Alba, I think we will need Alba. Lewandowski needs competition. I agree, he does need competition, but I don't think Alba is the right competition. Two old people competing for the same role. I don't think that's the way to go about it. And then I guess, again, I say old, relatively speaking, because I'm 32 years old. So these guys are my age. So I say old as far as football, not in life, because they're obviously in life, they're pretty young. Chicomba says, hello, Mo. What are your thoughts on Vitor Roque? We really need him. I hope Barcelona will not give up on him. I have watched some of his video clips. The boy is really good. Yes, Vitor Roque is very, very, very good. I think he is probably that in the next few years, he'll probably be one of the top three, if not the top, maybe not the top, but definitely top three, number nines in the world, up there with Haaland. The problem is the economy. If Barcelona were healthy, financially speaking, I would say go for it. Pay 45, 50, whatever Athletic Paranaense want, pay him. But given the club's economy, unfortunately, we have to be cognizant about the price, and 45 to 50 million euros right now is just a lot of money for Barcelona. So they have to be really, really sure, because another thing is Vitor Roque is doing great in Brazil, and I have no doubt he's going to do great in Europe, but that's not a guarantee. They've seen a lot of players who, when they make such a huge jump from whatever league they're in to European leagues or to big clubs, sometimes it just doesn't work out. So that's something that Barcelona need to consider, because if this was any other year and we spent 50 million and Vitor Roque doesn't work out, oh well, not a big deal. But since the club are so financially, in such a hard place, if you spend the 50 million euros and he doesn't work out, now you're in big, big trouble, because you just lost all that money that you didn't have much of on someone that didn't work out. All right. Dark says, Mo, love from Kansas City, Missouri. Do you think Barca is a little slacking about Vitor Roque because they know the kid preferred Barca? No, I don't think that's the case. I think, again, it's a financial issue. Barcelona have been tracking Vitor Roque for quite some time. They really wanted to sign him, but they couldn't, because, he didn't turn 18 until in February. And by the time he turned 18, he had just played the South American Championship, which he won with Brazil. They were champions. They were crowned champions. He was the top scorer of that championship. And all of a sudden, based on that performance, his value just skyrocketed. In Barcelona, we're hoping to get him for around 20, 25 million. And Athletic Paranaense had initially said yes, but again, they couldn't finalize the deal because he was still underage. And then when he turned 18, all of a sudden, Athletic Paranaense are like, no, we want 50. So no, it's not because he picked Barca. It's definitely a financial issue. All right, one more comment, and then we will get back to the news, and then it's the last bit of news, so we'll have plenty of time after that to get the discussion, to keep the discussion going. All right, let's see. Leon says Barcelona should try there to sign Vitor Roque. Okay, yeah, covered that. DPG says, is Barcelona getting Carrasco? Carrasco is not for sure now. Barcelona are trying to reduce the price. Barcelona had agreed to a clause that would allow them to sign Carrasco between 15 to 20 million euros. They're trying to reduce that to 8 to 9 million euros because they don't think he's worth that much. Atletico Madrid have not responded yet to that. But even if they do agree to 8 to 9 million, that doesn't mean Barcelona will sign him. That's just an option that they're considering. It's not final. I've said it before. I don't think Carrasco is the right call. I think given that the club have so little money to spend and so little margin to work with, if we're going to spend it on a player, we got to make sure that player is going to be that big difference that's going to make that much more impact on a team. And I don't see Carrasco making that much more impact as someone as Ansu Fati or even Ferran Torres. I mean, he is a little bit better than them, but it's not that much difference where we should spend our very little money that we have. Anyways, let's do the final bit of news, Ancelotti. Then we'll have plenty of time to continue the discussion. Like I said, not a lot of news today just because we just came out of the holiday, the St. Jordi holiday in Catalonia. So not a lot of news. This is the last bit of news, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end to keep going and with the chat. Now, Carlo Ancelotti said that he doesn't think that there's no 11-point difference between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And what he meant with that is that Barcelona and Madrid are a lot more even skill-wise than what the 11-point difference makes it seem. His exact words were, if we talk about the quality of the two teams, there is no 11-point difference. And it has been seen in the games we have played between us. We are two very even teams, and the distance comes from small details. We want to cut it down. So, Ancelotti thinks that Barcelona and Madrid are a lot more even than what the 11-point difference suggests on the table. And I for the first time, agree with him. I think, yes, if you look at Barcelona and Madrid, there really isn't much difference. If anything, I would say Madrid are a little bit better than us, just given the quality of players that they have. If you look at their attack, if you compare Vinicius, Rodrigo, Fede Valverde to, I don't know, Rafinha, Ferran, Ansu. I mean, those Madrid's three wingers are, years and years ahead of our three wingers. Our defense, I would say, pretty much even. Our midfield, pretty much even. But we do have the problem that when Pedri, Frankie get injured, all of a sudden our midfield falls apart. But Real Madrid have a little bit of a deeper bench when it comes to their midfield. They can rotate without a difference. So I would say even Madrid is actually a little bit ahead of us. But when you look at the 11-point difference, it tells you something, and that's that Barcelona have been better about managing their season. They've been better about managing their matches. There's been a lot of matches where Barcelona should have either lost or drawn, but they ended up winning. And that has to do with how Barcelona has been managing the season so far. We have a very solid defense. We have a very solid goalkeeper. And that, of course, is, credit to Xavi. A lot of people want to, hang Xavi, leave him out to dry. Oh, let's fire him. He sucks. But here we go, Xavi, with a team, brand new players, against a Real Madrid who have had their coach since last season, who have veteran players, who have much higher quality players, and yet we are 11 points ahead of them, which tells you Xavi is doing a better job managing his team, managing the season than what Ancelotti's doing, who's been doing this for decades. I mean, Ancelotti's been a coach for many, many, many years. Xavi's not. This is his first full season. So that goes to show, what Xavi is doing. And, a lot of people focus when they were talking about this news about Ancelotti saying this, they were focused more about where, Ancelotti's wrong or he's just talking crap about Barcelona. But I think we need to look at the silver lining in these statements, and is that, yes, those teams are pretty even. Real Madrid might be even better. But the fact that we're 11 points ahead, it just goes to show how much better Xavi is doing job doing managing the season. Another thing is that I don't think Ancelotti thought about this when he made these statements, is that if you can say this about La Liga, that Barcelona and Madrid are pretty even and that 11 points is not really a fair reflection, that means that it cuts both ways. We should also deserve to be in the Champions League. But of course, nobody's going to say that. And I do believe that we deserve to be in a Champions League because I think we really had bad luck this season. Part of it was bad performance, but we also had really bad luck. We had bad luck with the draw where we drew the toughest group, Bayern, Inter. We also had bad luck with the injuries. We had to play against, Inter and Bayern with a lot of our main players injured. And we also had a horrible, horrible luck with the refereeing. Clear penalty call against Bayern Munich that wasn't called, that could have given us those 3 points. Clear penalty against Inter Milan that wasn't called, could have given us another 3 points. And I mean, look where Inter are. Inter are in the semifinal. Bayern Munich made it to the quarterfinal. So I think Ancelotti's statements that Barcelona and Madrid are a lot more even and that the 11-point difference is not fair, I think it cuts both ways, which means also it's not fair that Barcelona got knocked out of the Champions League. But that's football. It's not about what's fair. It's about what gets achieved on the field. So that is it, guys. Let's head back to the comments section. We'll keep a discussion going. We'll do several comments because there's not more news, and then we'll wrap it up. Again, remember, tomorrow I'm only doing one live stream, which is the post-match analysis live stream. So as soon as the match ends with Rayo Vallecano, we'll do a match analysis. We'll get a discussion going, and then the news I will bring it to you in a regular video. Okay, where did we leave off? All right, I think I know where. Chikomba says from Zambia. Hello, Chikomba, and hello everybody in Zambia. Alba is Batman. He's underground. Yeah, he's also 34 years old. Leon says Barcelona should try. Okay, yeah, we did that. I guess I went a little bit too back. SS says, I'm actually missing things. Did Molina play in that game, and how did he do? Molina for Atletico Madrid, yes, he did play. He played. He actually had a good game. Molina's improved his game a lot ever since the World Cup. He used to make a lot of silly mistakes, but he's been a lot more solid ever since he came back from the World Cup. So I think it was a good experience for him. Okay, Andruk says, Will Conte come to Barcelona? You know, if it's between Conte and Ilkay, Xabi prefers Ilkay. And since Barcelona are in advanced talks with Ilkay, I think Gundogan's going to be the one that comes over Conte, which I prefer Gundogan to come over Conte. I think Gundogan is more of a Barcelona profile. We need that creativity in the interiors, which right now we're lacking. Also, Gundogan he's been able to stay healthy versus Conte, who's been dealing with a lot of injuries lately. So I would prefer Gundogan, both from his health wise and the skills and abilities that he would contribute to Barcelona. All right, Jusu says, Mo, all these cases was just to distract Barcelona players, not to focus on the pitch, so the Real Madrid will win La Liga again and not work for them. So shame on Madrid fans. I agree. I think this whole campaign, the whole Enrique Negreira case, because again, this is nothing new. We've known about, Enrique Negreira, the last time Barcelona hired him was back in 2018. That's when the relationship ended. So this is like, we're talking about 5 years ago. This is very old news. This wasn't some clandestine operation where Barcelona were paying this guy with duffel bags full of cash, dropping it at his house late at night. I mean, all this is on paper. Barcelona have hired Enrique Negreira since 2001, 2018. So he's been on the Barcelona books for 17 years. Barcelona have the invoices for every time they paid him. They have all the reports that he provided them. All this was reported to the Spanish Treasury, for tax purposes. All these documents have existed for years and years. So the whole Enrique Negreira case is not like, oh my God, this happened yesterday. We just found out about it. No, this has been happening for years. We've known about it. So yes, I think this whole thing was part of a campaign to try to destabilize Barcelona. Barcelona have been going through very dark times this past few seasons, with an incompetent board of directors who were spending the club's money left and right, to an Asian squad that the board of directors were not worrying about replacing. We were suffering on the field with all the embarrassment with Bayern Munich 82. We were suffering financially. And then all of it came down crashing. Messi left. The club was in financial ruin. Sporting-wise, we were completely in ruin. We didn't win any trophies last season. And then all of a sudden, new board of directors come. Xabi comes. Everybody's expecting Barcelona to take years and years to recover. And all of a sudden, in 1 year, the club is out of the red zone financially and is doing well. All of a sudden, the team now, they just won the Spanish Super Cup and they're about to win La Liga. We could have won Copa del Rey at the time of the Enrique Negreira. So all of a sudden, Barcelona goes from absolute demise to all of a sudden they're doing well in just 1 year. And that didn't sit well with Madrid. That didn't sit well with all the big, voices in Spain. So all of a sudden, breaking news, Enrique Negreira from 5 years ago. Really breaking news from 5 years ago. I mean, it's not a coincidence. It really was a campaign to destabilize Barcelona. Aqua says, I'm not in support about Barca renewing Alonso's contract. He's too lazy. It's actually the total opposite. He's not lazy. That's why Xabi wanted to renew him. Alonso's the kind of guy that puts in the work, works hard, keeps his head down, takes whatever he gets. If he gets 2 minutes a match, he'll play 2 minutes, doesn't complain. He's not constantly filtering stories to the press. He's not constantly talking to reporters. He comes, does his work, goes home. He's a versatile player. He's not earning much, and that's why they renew him. So to say that he's lazy, that's far, far from the truth. All right, let's see. A couple more comments, and then we'll wrap this up. Nima, there you are, man. I thought you weren't on, because usually you have a lot of comments. Is there any interest in the market for Marcos Alonso? Yes, Chelsea want Alonso. Chelsea want Alonso and Christensen. But again, I don't think Alonso is going to be offloaded. He's not earning much, so offloading him really is not going to make a difference, financially speaking. Andreas Christensen, on the other hand, he could obviously, I think he's worth something like 40 million, and he came for free, so that'd be a huge, revenue stream for Barcelona. But he's not for sale either. Let's see, 2 more comments, and then we'll end this. All right, Paul says, please help me. I'm from Liberia, the country where George Weah, the only African player who won the FIFA Man of the Player of the Year, came from. I want to register as an FC Barcelona fan. For that, you have to go to the website. You have to go to the fcbarcelona.com. All right. Let's see. Where else? Dark Knight says, Mo, who else believes Carrasco played to impress Xavi yesterday? He kind of did well. He did do well, but I think the problem with Carrasco is the same problem with Rafinha. They both have great matches, but then they can't keep that up. They'll give you one good match, and they'll disappear for 10. So I think that's another reason why I wouldn't want Carrasco on the team. Does he give you great performances? Yes. But can he maintain that all through the season? No. Okay. Let's see. One more, and then we'll call it. SA says, are you Egyptian? I'm not Egyptian. Okay. Cinto says, I don't want Messi back. He will derail our progress. I don't think so, because the way Xavi's trying to use him, he's trying to use him in the midfield, kind of go back to that square midfield. And so he's not going to. At first, I thought when Xavi was still going to use the 4-3-3, if Messi comes back, I thought, yes, that would derail the progress, because that means sacrificing either Gavi or Pedri. I didn't want to see that happen. But now that they're talking about Xavi wanting to use that square midfield with Messi, Pedri, Gavi, and Frankie in the middle, I think in that case, no, it wouldn't derail the progress, because you're not sacrificing the minutes of Pedri and Gavi to have Messi there. They're still going to play. And if anything, he's just going to boost the team that much more, because even though Messi's 35 years old, he's still the best in the world. I mean, you see him at PSG. He has 15 goals and 15 assists. I mean, that's crazy. He actually has, I think, the most goal contributions, if I'm not mistaken. If you add up the Argentina plus PSG, I think he has 60 goal contributions. And in second place is Haaland and Mbappe. So, I mean, Messi at 35 years old has more goal contributions than Haaland and Mbappe, who are in their prime of their career. I mean, come on. How are you going to tell me that the best in the world is going to derail your project? Okay, I think that's it, guys. We are 442 Diamond. Yes, Nima. They're talking about going back to the Diamond. The second striker to Lewa, that's a good question. That's what we're going to have to find out. All right. So, guys, that is it. We're at 36 minutes. I try to keep these 30 minutes. You know, I don't want to bore you guys. And also, I don't want to bore the people who watch that stream when it ends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for participating in the conversation. And thank you for those who will be watching once the stream ends. Again, tomorrow, regular news video. On Wednesday, we'll have just one stream right after the match with Rayo Vallecano ends. And the news will be in a regular format video. Thank you for all your support. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in tomorrow's video. And as always, Visca Barça.